Imagine getting paid on Friday, feeling rich on Saturday, and checking your bank account on Monday like someone robbed you. Then you study the evidence and discover that the robber knew your password, ordered takeout, and looked exactly like you. This problem is not new. Almost 100 years ago, George S. Clason wrote The Richest Man in Babylon about people living thousands of years ago who had the same complaint. Money arrives, money disappears, and somehow the sandals were on sale. Different century, same bank account. In the next 8 minutes, we will turn those old rules into a simple money system you can start with your next paycheck. The book takes us to ancient Babylon, where merchants and craftsmen apparently discussed personal finance beside camels. At the center is Arkad, the richest man in the city. His childhood friends are confused. They had similar opportunities and equally impressive ancient hairstyles. Yet Arkad became wealthy while they stayed broke. So they ask him the question every financial video eventually asks, what do you know that we do not? His answer begins with one rule so simple that most people ignore it. Arkad says, a part of all I earn is mine to keep. In modern language, pay yourself first. Every time 10 coins enter your pocket, keep at least one, not after rent, food, subscriptions, and a mysterious late-night purchase. First, most people pay everyone else, then save whatever survives. Usually nothing survives. Arkad reverses the order. Saving is not what happens after spending. Spending is what happens after saving. That small change turns saving from a wish into a system. 10% is not magic. The important part is creating a permanent gap between what you earn and what you spend. If every dollar immediately receives a job, your income can grow forever and you can still remain broke. Lifestyle has a remarkable ability to eat every raise you feed it. Start with an amount you can repeat. If 10% is impossible, begin with 1%. The first victory is proving that money can enter your life without immediately escaping through a side door. The next lesson is to control expenses. Control, not eliminate. The book is not asking you to survive on dust and positive thoughts. It asks you to separate needs from desires. Unfortunately, desires are excellent actors. A larger phone becomes essential for productivity. New shoes become an investment in walking. Food delivery becomes emotional healthcare. Look at last month's spending and ask which expenses improved your life, and which ones disappeared without leaving a forwarding address. Saving is only the beginning. Arkad says your gold should produce more gold. In Babylon, that might mean lending to a reliable merchant. Today, the options are different, but the principle remains. Learn how productive assets work and invest consistently over time. Do not confuse investing with excitement. If your strategy requires checking a price every 14 seconds while whispering, "Please go up," you may not own an investment. You may own a stress subscription. The book warns against putting money into things you do not understand. Arkad once trusted a brickmaker to buy jewels. That is roughly the ancient version of taking cryptocurrency advice from your dentist. Before risking money, ask 3 questions. How does this produce value? How could I lose? Who benefits if I say yes? If the explanation is confusing, rushed, or promises guaranteed riches, keep your money seated. Growing wealth matters, but protecting it comes first. Everyone wants a shortcut, which is why shortcuts are such a profitable business. The promise is always similar: huge returns, almost no risk, and an opportunity that disappears when you ask sensible questions. Babylon had schemes. We have apps, influencers, and a cousin who suddenly says leverage at dinner. Real wealth usually grows slowly enough to feel boring. That is not a flaw. Slow growth gives you time to learn, recover, and avoid explaining why the retirement fund now owns a digital picture of a duck. Arkad also teaches people to provide for future income. One day, you may not want or may not be able to work at the same pace. Future, you will still enjoy food, shelter, and electricity. Begin preparing before that person arrives and sends angry letters backward through time. Emergency savings, long-term planning, and protection for your family are not pessimism. They are signs that you expect to remain alive. You do not need a perfect plan. You need one that becomes stronger each year. The final cure for an empty purse is to increase your ability to earn. Cutting expenses has a limit. Learning does not. Improve a skill, gain a qualification, negotiate better, or become more useful at solving a valuable problem. Arkad did not become rich by staring aggressively at his coin purse. He became more capable. Choose one skill that could raise your income during the next year, then practice it every week. Your greatest asset may be the person operating your investment account. The book tells of a man trapped by debt who finally faces every creditor instead of running away. His plan is simple: live on part of his income, save part, and use part to repay what he owes. Debt behaves like a guest who eats everything and never understands hints. Ignoring it gives it another chair. List every debt, payment, and interest rate, then make a realistic repayment plan. Shame hides numbers. Progress begins when the numbers enter daylight. Here is the whole book translated into one payday system. First, automatically keep a percentage for yourself. Second, cover essential expenses and planned enjoyment. Third, repay expensive debt and build an emergency reserve. Fourth, invest only in things you understand, using qualified guidance when needed. Fifth, improve your ability to earn. This system is not glamorous. It will not produce a thumbnail with a sports car exploding behind you. Repeated for years, however, it can turn ordinary income into security and options. Do not wait for a new month, a higher salary, or a more responsible personality to arrive by mail. Start with your next payment. Move 1% before spending anything else. Increase it later, then remove one expense that gives you almost no value. Not every coffee. Not all joy. One useless leak. Send that amount towards savings or debt. Wealth begins when one small decision becomes a rule instead of a temporary burst of motivation. For the next 7 days, follow 3 Babylon rules. Keep a piece of every payment. Write down every expense. Before risking money, explain in one sentence how it should grow and how it could be lost. If you cannot explain it, wait. At the end of the week, review what happened. You may not become the richest person in Babylon, which is inconvenient if you already ordered the robe, but you will have something more useful: a system you can repeat. The richest man in Babylon survives because its message is simple. Wealth is not created by one brilliant decision. It is built by keeping part of what you earn, controlling what you spend, protecting what you save, and steadily becoming more valuable. The city is ancient. The habits are not. Your first saved dollar may look unimpressive, but it changes your role. You are no longer only working for money. Money has begun working for you. If this made an old book feel useful today, subscribe to Plain Pages. Big books, simple ideas, and no fake motivation.